Doesn't make sense. Oh, I'm in 1 Timothy. There we go. Okay. 2 Timothy 2:14. Keep reminding them of these things. Warn them before God and against quarreling about words. It is of no value, only ruins those who listen. Do your best to present yourself to God as one approved, a workman who does not need to be ashamed and who correctly handles the word of truth. Avoid godless chatter, because those who indulge in it will become more and more ungodly. Their teachings will spread like gangrene. Among them are Hypernius, I can't say those words, and Philonius, who have wandered away from the truth. They say that the resurrection has already taken place, and they destroy the faith of some. Nevertheless, God's solid foundation stands firm, sealed with this inscription: the Lord knows those who are His, and everyone who confesses the name of the Lord must turn away from their wickedness. This is the one who goes into the workplace, who knows that God is in on his side, that there is a purpose for our lives being witnesses to the gospel, just with the way we act, just by avoiding useless conversations, chatter that tears people down and doesn't build them up. And then to handle the word of truth, the correct handling of the word, to know the word of God, to, you know what? Let's put into practice all the stuff that we've learned. All the Sunday schools, all the Bible studies, all the engagement in the conversations of learning everything there is to know about the Christian walk. You're all in spheres of influence that you can put all that stuff into practice tomorrow. Boom, it's there. Taking down the sacred and the secular divides and allowing us to work that way. Colossians said that we must do our work as working for the Lord, not as unto men. How many of you who are employed yet right now have gone into the workplace on a daily basis and said, God, could you use me in this place today? Help me to be the best worker I can be. Help me to be as efficient as I can. Help me to not make mistakes. Help me to put a smile on my face. Help me to engage a person who is always smiling and now today isn't, and be able to ask them, is there something wrong? Some of the workplaces I go into, I find it interesting. It really doesn't matter how old. You know, the guys that are real close to retirement, they got it down. I mean, it's, I got 10 days, 48 hours, 32, 31, 30 seconds. But the 25-year-old's going, how's it going today? Good. I only got, 25 years, 14 hours, 32, Is that what it's really about? No. If we go in working for the Lord, not for men, it's every day going into that place saying, I get an opportunity, I have a privilege to go into this place and make a difference in the kingdom today. Yeah, but you don't know my boss. He's a slave driver. I mean, he's constantly cussing and swearing because we never get it right. Oh, really? Scriptures tell us that we're to be obedient no matter what. Let's see if I can put my fingers on that here a minute. Let's see. Yeah, 1 Peter. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 18. Slaves, submit yourselves to your masters with all respect, not only to those who are good and considerate, but also to those who are harsh. For it is commendable if a man bears up under the pain of unjust suffering, because he is conscious of God. But how is it to your credit if you receive a beating for doing wrong and endure it? Well, you did wrong, so you're going to get punished, right? But if you suffer for doing good and you endure it, this is commendable before God. To this you were called, because Christ suffered for you, leaving you an example that you should follow in His steps. So no matter what, go into that workplace, go into that sphere of influence. have an attitude that you're going to be of Christ's kingdom and not man's kingdom. That you're going to work for the Lord and not for men. And what difference will that make? Not only in your life, but in the lives of others who you work with. The psalm we read, and you all agreed to, that God is still in control. He has everything in His hands. He has everything in His purpose. Every breath that we take, every moment that we live. It's the sovereignty of God that even separates who we are as reformers in this world. So we go into our workplaces with that attitude, knowing that all things are of God's and He will work everything out for His glory. But here's what happens in the secular-sacred divide and what it's enabled for us to do. There's the clock, thank you. It has allowed us to have a very deep, committed life in a certain portion of our lives, and be a good Christian kind of thing, and yet allow us to create another place where it does not appear that God reigns. I have gone into workplaces that we have encouraged them to have a workplace chaplain in their company. Companies of 200 to 400 people. And you don't know how many times I've heard an owner, a CEO, an upper level management person say to me, how do you do this with the separation of church and state? And my answer to them is, I'm sorry, I didn't know the state of Michigan owned you. And they say, what? You're not the state. Yeah, but you got all that stuff out there that, the lawsuits, and everything. I said, I'm not asking you to do anything illegal. I'm just asking you if you care for your employees enough to have a chaplain come alongside of them so when they get in a life crisis situation that we can fix them, put a Band-Aid on it or put a cast on it and get things back to normal so they can be good employees for you. Yeah, but you're going to put all that religious stuff on it. We have people that take care of that, psychologists, psychiatrists, and if people have a problem, we just give them some pills and they're okay. No. The solution to the world's problems aren't found in those places, are they? We know the solution. It's Jesus. But for some reason, that has been taken out. You know how hard your employers are working to keep you well? I mean, the whole Obamacare and everything else that's going on, but the employers, they want to pay you well, so you can live right. They want to give you health insurance that's good health insurance. Some of you are smiling going, no, you haven't gotten my employer yet. They provide for a lot of different things. I know a company in town, they got a series of doctors and physical therapists and everything right on site, Some of you remember the old days at Upjohn. You didn't have to leave that place. Who worked at Upjohn? You didn't have to leave that place. You had a barber and everything there. That's pretty cool. That was before my time. We have come to think that God doesn't have reign in anything but the church. And that's a lie. And I'm inviting you, if you're an employer today, I'm inviting you to invite God back in your business. If you're an employee, I'm inviting you to invite God back into your shift, into your truck, into your team of people. And make it simple. Make it simple. You sit down for lunch, you all open your lunch boxes, begin it with just a silent prayer to yourself. And somebody's going to ask. It's different. And then you begin to pray for them, and then you begin to pray with them, and then the conversations begin. Don't cheat your employer out of time. Don't take more than a half an hour lunch break. That's what you get. But use times of influence that you can make a difference in those places. God is calling us into His kingdom and His kingdom work. Real quickly, I want to share with you Matthew 13. And our time is getting away. Matthew 13. And just